hilarious that she has this whole thing about, I'm really good at picking up languages because I can tell how people are feeling when they talk. Who has she been listening to who's speaking Latin?
Welcome to Inchworm,
the podcast in which we're inching through Worm. I'm Jenny.
And I'm Ted.
We read Prey 14.9, the chapter where Taylor figures it out.
Yes, thankfully.
And by figures it out, I mean who Jack and Bonesaw are, not what to do about it, unfortunately.
Yes. But the dramatic irony is not extended too far.
Yeah,
but the chapter is so tense.
Yeah.
You're just waiting for her to put the pieces together. It was kind of
what I expected, which was that it takes a while into this chapter, but then she does figure it out.
I think, you did predict it right on, the amount of time it would take. But should I go through what happens in the chapter?
Just tell us all the stuff, yeah.
So, we last left our trio, Gru, Tattletale, those are in scare quotes, and Skitter, making their way out of the fighting area of the city to basically try to get to somewhere with cell service so they can call Coil and use Cherish to either track down Amy or the Slaughterhouse 9. We start the chapter with Bonesaw kind of probing to see how the agnosia is affecting Taylor. Like, okay, your short-term memory works. How exactly does your power work? Taylor is reflecting just how creepy everything feels when the sky is shrouded in this red miasma. Taylor notices that someone is following them. A heroine, judging by her body type, but she's still in kind of the fireproof suit, though Taylor doesn't remember that, so Taylor can't really figure out who she is. Did you have any guesses as to who this person is by the end of the chapter?
Oh, it's clearly Battery.
Yes. So we have reason to believe that this is Battery following them. Taylor sets up some decoys to kind of delay this person following them using her bugs. Jack and Bonesaw basically say, well, can you deal with this person? Can you tie her up? Taylor starts preparing threads to make her move. And all at once, she ties up this heroine, and Jack says, oh, well, she's tied up now. We got to go investigate. What if she's one of the 9? Tattletale can tell us if she's one of the 9. Bonesaw and Jack basically have an extended conversation with Taylor, where Jack especially is just trying to pressure her into using her gun to kill Battery on the basis that Tattletale knows she's a member of the Slaughterhouse 9 and it's the right thing to do. And they use a bunch of sort of rhetorical strategies, a lot of peer pressure to try and get her to do this. Bonesaw talks a little bit about we've been going so hard against the Slaughterhouse 9 and now you're just going to leave one of them. And Jack starts talking about don't you remember what they did to me? And even after that, you're still not going to, be willing to pull the trigger. I know you care about me. I think I'm in love with you, he even says. And but, I know you're a traitor and now you're betraying us again. He's just really digging into this. And where Taylor comes down is she says, look, murder's a big deal. I need to be 100% certain. And despite all of the awful stuff that Jack is saying to her, she says if she's going to follow her heart, then she is going to fight to save this woman if Jack tries to attack her. And she's making the very reasonable point that maybe she's paranoid, but under the influence, there's basically no way to be sure enough to make it worth doing. At a certain point, Jack just gives up. He says, oh, I guess I was wrong, and decides to move on very suddenly. And Taylor throughout the scene has been just feeling like something is off and she can't put her finger on it. And as they leave Battery tied up, Jack says to Bonesaw, oh, could you, use your power Tattletale to make sure this woman from the 9 doesn't pose us any danger. And they start to walk away, and Taylor's just kind of going over everything in her head. Just like she feels like she's in the middle of a fight. Is she maybe just being paranoid? But on the other hand, you know, she was in the miasma least of all, so like, can she trust other people's behavior even if they are Gru and Tattletale? Bonesaw's like, hey, you doing okay? And Jack says, no, just don't engage. Taylor's trying to figure out what exactly is off when she realizes Bonesaw's lying to her. Taylor's bugs are still on the heroine, who is breaking free, using her power to get out of the spider silk. Taylor can tell that, you know, she's back on their trail and is like, oh, hey, Tattletale, you're still using your power to make sure that heroine's, you know, not following us, right? And Bonesaw's like, yeah, that's right. So she knows Bonesaw's lying. And finally, they have phone service. So Taylor calls Coil. They try to establish the security code, and Taylor's like, okay, but our code requires me to know someone's real name, and I don't know any names, so I can't do that. But, like, look, we need Cherish. Maybe you can just stay on the line. And so Coil is okay with that as a security measure, and Cherish comes on. It is clear that she knows the entire time that it is not Gru and Tattletale on the other line. It is Jack and Bonesaw, who cleverly remain silent, so Coil never hears their voices. And Cherish is basically saying, like, oh no, I don't want revenge on the 9. You know, I am here on this boat, ha ha ha. Like, she mentions kind of her location over and over again. And, you know, I'll tell you for free, Amy is holed up at the top floor of Arcadia High. I'm going to tell you something else in exchange, maybe, for some goodwill. And Taylor's like, that doesn't make any sense. And she's starting to realize, you know, is she even, like, talking to us? And then in Latin, Cherish says, if Jack leaves the city, the world will end. And Coil's like, I don't speak Latin. What's going on? And Cherish is like, it doesn't matter. The message was delivered. Mm-hmm. And with that phrase, it all clicks into place for Taylor. Cherish was talking about Jack. She must have been talking to Jack. That means that this man here is not Gru. It is Jack. Mm-hmm. All of the pieces click into place about what's been going on. Cherish trying to get back on their good side, revealing her location, saying that Jack's going to end the world. And Taylor starts spinning around in her head, what am I going to do? I can't let on that I know. I can't let on that I know. And then Jack says, Skitter. And she reacts. She grabs Bonesaw, throws her between them as Jack brings out his blades, and they end up having a standoff with, you know, Taylor's bugs and some of Bonesaw's gases kind of igniting to kill off the bugs between them. And Taylor gets cut on her face, but Jack doesn't make any other aggressive moves towards her. During their standoff, Jack says, you've outlived your usefulness. It was fun. I kind of wish I'd recruited you. You know, you're so versatile, and, like, if Cherish hadn't misled me so much, I think I could have gotten you to shoot the heroine. It would have been fun to corrupt you like that. Taylor tries to tell Jack that he doesn't really end the world, but he doesn't believe her, and Jack and Bonesaw run off. The mechanical spiders are closing in. They seem to have taken out Battery, knocked her out, you know, hurt her in some way. Taylor mulls over, like, okay, they're faster than me. I could use Atlas, but if I fly too high, Jack could, like, cut me out of the sky. But that's better than getting killed by mechanical spiders, I guess. So she jumps onto Atlas, starts flying towards the high school, and we end the chapter with her thinking, you know, she's not trying to win. She's just trying to minimize how bad the loss is going to be.
Yeah. Wow. This arc, just two of the huge themes of this work so far have been knowledge is power and having friends is everything. Mm-hmm. And now she has neither thing. Mm-hmm. She doesn't know anything. She says that over and over again in her fight with Jack and Bonesaw. At the end, she's like, they know everything about me and their own powers. I don't remember anything about them or, like, the details of our past engagements. I'm just flying blind here, basically.
Yeah.
And of course, she doesn't have anyone with her. She has no way to find the actual members of her team.
Yeah.
She doesn't even remember their real names.
She doesn't even know that it's Bonesaw, right? She has enough logic to lock in. Cherish must have been sending a message to Jack. This must be Jack.
So
and
but
she's
there's nothing to tell her.
Obviously, this
Bonesaw.
girl is on the Slaughterhouse 9, but she doesn't know
she doesn't have the
Bonesaw's name, how she looks, what her powers are. So she's like, there's some girl with vials making smoke. And she didn't seem to mind when she got knifed in the face. But that's all she knows. And it's not really relevant, who she is in this scene.
Yeah.
But it's always Jack and the girl for the rest of the chapter. I love the overt theminess of the miasma.
Yeah.
It's just so fun.
It's like, what does Taylor do when you strip these things away from her?
Yeah. And it's the, Bonesaw is an artist, right? Mm-hmm. And she is
she's participating in the narrative.
Yeah, and she's probing a little bit at the beginning because she's kind of oh, I'm not sure what the end state is going to be for people.
Right. She
and
probably
she's
hasn't tested this.
Oh, but your short-term memory still works, right?
Yeah.
So I don't have to worry, so she doesn't know. So she has this kind of curiosity of well, what have I really done to her? That she's trying to figure it out. And then we'll talk about the whole Temptation of Skitter scene.
Yes.
As Jack is trying to bully her into shooting battery.
Uh-huh.
But by the end, right, Jack, I think, could easily have just killed Skitter. He even says...
Yeah, he knocks the weapon out of her hand.
Yeah, you outlived your usefulness. But he's clearly I guess it's more interesting if she's still alive and we run away, right?
Right,
and that's his whole... That's kind of his whole deal, right? He's kind of in it
he
for
wants the challenge.
Right, the fun.
Well, the fascinating thing is, I feel over the course of this chapter, he sort of stopped underestimating Skitter, but he's still behaving like someone who's underestimating Skitter. Maybe because he likes the challenge. But the thing where he's oh, I realized that what Cherish told me, I don't think it was actually misinformation, we can talk about that, but is not actually representative of who she is. Also, he's oh wow, her power is super versatile.
Yeah.
She's actually really competent and has this core that I didn't know about. Wow.
Yeah.
But then he also lets her live just because he kind of thinks that's fun, I guess.
Right. Well, I do wonder how much of that is making an excuse, right? He failed, right? He failed to break her.
True.
And so it's really easy to be well, if Cherish hadn't given me the wrong info, of course I would have.
Totally an excuse. Right. Yeah.
But the way that I parse the ending is the end of his temptation, right? Skitter is definitively saying no. She makes her murder is bad statement. Mm-hmm. And then Jack really lays it on thick with the traitor thing. And when he says, you're a traitor again, Taylor reacts to that, giving him a look. And it could be her feelings are hurt, but I think it's also a little bit how does he know that?
That's a
right?
good point.
How does he know that specifically?
How does he remember that?
And then Jack says something else.
She also doesn't have the context to remember that oh, actually, Brian stopped being mad at me about that, and she never actually betrayed them. She was just planning to,
Oh yeah, of course not. Of course not. But then Taylor kind of repeats what he's asking of her to him, is so you're saying you'll never forgive me if I don't shoot this woman right now, right?
Yeah.
She's kind of basically saying you're making this really irrational emotional play, connecting it to my decision not to murder her. Then Jack's oh, I guess I was wrong. And he backs off. He's it's not going to work.
He smiles. He turns away.
And as they're leaving, Bonesaw's hey, are you okay? And Jack's leave it.
Yeah.
So he realizes that Taylor is onto him, right? I think that he is suddenly seeing oh, she's putting, not only is it she not going to kill the heroine, but she's starting to wise up. The whole scenario is clicking into place for her. And so he immediately goes to okay, I actually might lose my game. I might lose access to the ability to call Coil if I lay it on too thick, right? And then at the end, right, Taylor doesn't give anything away as far as we can tell when she figures out that it's Jack.
Yeah.
So that's why I think he already has to know, before the phone call happens, right? And so then just because she's being silent, he realizes the jig is up. And when he says Skitter, that's enough for her to kind of turn. And he uses the knife. he tries to cut her down. And I think that's because he is threatened in that moment. He lashes out at Skitter until the point when Bonesaw's activated her cloud, he's disarmed her, the gun is gone, and then he's feeling like confident again. But I really feel like from the moment he says, oh, I'm just a little disappointed, let's move on, to the moment when he knocks the gun out of her hands, he's actually playing way more conservatively because he's about to lose. He's about to lose the connection to Coil, and like, he doesn't know what Skitter can do. If she managed to draw that gun on him, maybe he actually loses in like a Mexican standoff situation. Yeah. Right? Like, you know,
guns are pretty powerful.
So then, of course, as soon as he's like, has a couple more defenses up, he's like, okay, this is fine. You know, whatever, I can leave her. Right? Like,
that might be true. I am not totally convinced. I guess just his behavior when he's like, oh, I guess I was wrong about you. It didn't seem like he was taking any great pains to act in that moment. Like to present a convincing facade. Because he sort of weirdly was like, dropped his whole convincing thing and was just kind of complacent. Like, maybe that's how he behaves when he's threatened. He probably doesn't let on when he's threatened. So, like, you might be right. It's not how it struck me reading it, but I think your interpretation is plausible.
Yeah, it's just as he leaves, the way that he's like, no, Bonesaw, don't talk to her. Yeah. Like, we're about to screw this up.
that could be true.
I don't know if he was afraid, but I do think... I think
he was sort of like, yeah, there's nothing we can really do here. It's no point.
Even if he's not as worried about Taylor, like, he lost a lot of face in that moment. If not to Bonesaw, then just to himself. Yeah. Right? So, like, he has to play all calm and collected.
I failed to
and, like,
do this. Yeah.
You know, like, he has to go out of his way to blame Cherish later. But, like, Jack is Mr. Keystone Destroyer.
And he couldn't find Taylor.
He should be able to beat her because he knows so much and she knows nothing. Yeah. Right? But he failed. It's a big L for Jack.
I kind of like the explanation about it. Like, I think yours makes a lot of sense, but I kind of like the idea at the end that he's like, let's see if she can figure out that I'm about to cut her down. Like, I'm going to he's sort of testing her. He's like, if she just lets me cut her down, then she deserves to die. But if she manages to defend against this, then, like, yeah, that's fine. She can live. And because she manages to grab Bonesaw and protect against that attack, he's like, yeah, props. All right, you can live.
For those who have watched The Odyssey or don't care about spoilers, it is this is just kind of one of Odysseus's characterizations in the movie. It's not a big deal. But his whole thing is he twangs his bowstring when he's hunting. So the prey knows that they're being hunted and it's fair.
Oh, that's very Bonesaw, actually.
Right, but so that's kind of what you're saying, is like, he's like, well, I could just attack her, but I'm just going to say Skitter, right? Like, she gets one thing to react to.
Right, yeah. Well, because he likes to take the measure of people, and I think he's probably interested in, like, am I right that she's figured it out? Is she going to be able to defend against this?
And yeah, I think he's happy to kill people as like a show of force when he's marching through Brockton Bay. I think he was happy to kill a bunch of merchants or whatever for fun.
Oh, definitely.
But like, that's not what it's about for him in the same way it is for Siberian.
He's not bloodthirsty in the same way.
Exactly.
He doesn't care, but he also doesn't lust for death.
He cared way more about breaking Skitter's soul than he does about killing her and making sure that she doesn't come after him.
Oh, yeah, no. He's not very practical. Well, actually, I don't think that's true. He does like a challenge.
Yeah.
He's not about, making it as easy for himself as possible. Let's talk about her resistance to that. Because, he was laying it on thick.
Yeah.
And he did, I think a lot of the things he said, did get to her and bother her.
100%, yeah.
But I think he didn't find her keystone.
Yeah.
He was really playing on the, oh, we're your team. Don't you have our backs? Can't we trust you to, do what's needed to be done in a given situation? Don't you care about what they did to me? Mm-hmm. Are you going to betray us again? That's really, really heavy stuff. And she felt very ganged up on. She really felt the pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And none of it was enough to make her even, it seems seriously consider shooting battery. She was bothered by what he said, but it seemed like there was just a hard wall of no. I was so proud of her in this scene.
Yeah.
I loved to see it.
Yeah.
That she was really sincerely bothered and flashing back to all of her bullying situations.
Yeah.
And And yet she could not be budged from this thing of like, no, murder is a really big deal. I need to be sure that someone deserves to be killed before I kill them. And we can't be sure right now. And that was just like an absolutely like hard line for her.
And we've seen her, like, we saw her blow up her life in Arc 7 with the Dinah thing. Yeah. Right? Like, if she was willing to do that, like, we kind of know that she's willing in this situation to, like, stick by something like that.
That she thinks is right.
And she has proven time and time again that, like, she will get in a fight, potentially a lethal fight, in order to do the right thing.
Yes.
Right? So when
protect someone who needs protecting.
When she says, like, look, if you try to hurt her, I'm going to try to save her. Like, that is, like, we you know, that's her. That's our girl.
Yeah. Have we ever seen her do that over a man? She did it for Dinah. She did it for Charlotte. She did it for Battery.
She sort of did it for Gru, like, on his behalf, right? She was the one who was like, we're not going to kill him. We're not, and even we're going to save him. Like, she comes up with the whole scheme to get in there and get him back. Right.
I'm just curious because I do feel like she has this thing where she's like, no, I will do anything to protect this person who I've put in my head as like someone who deserves my protection. Yeah. And in this case, it was someone who, you know, she was tied up. She was on the ground, seemingly helpless. Taylor had no idea if she was guilty or innocent in life. Like, you know. Yeah. But I feel like the 3 times I'm thinking of that we've seen her do that, and maybe there are times I've forgotten or just aren't coming to mind, it's been a girl or woman who is trapped. Yeah. That's what activates that, like, I will burn the world down to save this person. Or, I mean, this isn't quite burn the world down.
And I mean, that's her trigger trauma.
Yes. Right? And it's about people where she sees herself in them.
I'm pretty sure it was like a little boy who Mannequin was going after when she's playing dead.
The child, yeah.
There's the genderless children from Arc 1 that motivates her. Right, you know.
Right, yeah. So, I mean, it's not necessarily heavily gendered, but it is notable, I think, that these people have strong parallels to her at her trigger.
I mean, I do think there's certainly a gendered component to that. I feel like we've talked about, like, female victims in horror before, and, like, some of the other stuff. Like, I don't think we've gotten into this, but, like, the 2 characters that Regent has controlled have been women, right? Like, again, there's sort of a...
men controlling women's bodies type thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And even what we've learned about, like, the Siberian, right?
Yeah.
You know, I'm not sure.
It's not quite the same thing, but yes.
Right, but I'm not sure that we've seen, you know, and I think that's a very, maybe tropey is the wrong word, but I feel like there is, in this kind of story, like, the women's bodies being the ones that are victimized. Like, even the choice to make Dragon a woman, right? And her, all of her body or bodiless related trauma, right? Like, I feel like that's been a lot. Of course, like, Brian is a major counterexample.
That is so true.
Right.
And I feel like there are all sorts of ways in which there is nuance given to that type of thing. Like, here, Battery seemed like a helpless victim, but it seemed like anytime she wanted to, she could spring up, and she was just playing dead. So, like, I don't think it's being done in an exploitative or reductive way. But
No. Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah. It's certainly something that will be interesting. Like, the story is long enough that, like, presumably we will see a lot, you know, like, it would be a valid card to play to be like, oh, Taylor doesn't want to save a boy, right? Like, you know, at some point in the future. Yeah. I'm not sure I would expect that based on what we've seen from her so far.
No. I wonder what Cherish said about her. I mean, we kind of heard the whole thing about being a worm and like now she finally has people. Like Jack says at one point, like, are you saying you look down on us? You're contemptible friends. And that's sort of echoing what Cherish said to her about like she's friends with lowlifes or whatever. And I just
the thing that she tried to say to Bitch about, you know, they're so smart and you're so stupid.
Right. Yeah. It does seem like Cherish can read people's emotions really well, but she doesn't actually have to manipulate people ever. Like, that's not really a thing that she has to do because her power lets her, like, literally manipulate their emotions. Like, she doesn't need to do it with her words,
step. And like you pointed out, with that guard, when she tries it without her power, it doesn't go well.
She's not good at it. And so she's probably not good at telling Jack what someone's, you know... And how much time could she have spent on describing the internal mental state of any given person or, like, Cape in Brockton Bay? Like, there are a lot of them. And
Right. And, how much projection is there when she's like, oh my gosh, this girl has this crush so hard on his teammate and he is also into her, right? Like when Jack's like, I could tell by the way your eyes reacted that you like me and I think I'm in love with you. That's not Jack being good at social deduction.
Oh, yeah, no.
That's because Cherish said Taylor's into Brian and Brian's into Taylor, right? Like,
we don't know that she said Brian's into Taylor, but we know that she said Taylor wants Brian to be into Taylor.
Absolutely fair.
Yeah.
I think that Cherish would have been able to read that into Brian in Arc 11. Obviously, that's like what I want to be true.
I do think it's true of Brian, but we don't know that from this chapter.
No, I'm not saying you're right. You're right. That wasn't revealed to us in this chapter, but I feel like Jack isn't even like making a good guess that Brian might have confessed to her, right? Like, I think he's just relaying information that he had, right?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
And obviously Taylor has had these, the feeling of guilt that she had back in Arc 10 and 11 when she was on the outside and she's like, I'm going to get back in the group and I'm on the bottom of the totem pole now and like I really need to make it up to them. Like how like lost she was. All of that I think was read pretty much accurately by Cherish. It's just that like maybe
a lot has changed.
Well, certainly a lot has changed, but also how much is she projecting? Like, oh my God, this girl's like obsessed with this guy and like she desperately just wants his affection to be returned, right?
Yeah.
How much is that just what Cherish wants?
That's a good point, yeah.
I feel like there's a little bit, Cherish is going to be biased in sort of like what's salient about people's emotions.
Right. And she's not Jack. She's not good at finding people's keystones.
Yeah.
So what she reports to Jack, like, probably not super inaccurate, but didn't give Jack what he needed. But he's also making an excuse. And I feel like him relying on Cherish's info is like, actually like cheating. Like he's only had her around for a short period of time. Like, Jack, don't you remember how you used to do this? Like, stop using AI.
Yeah, but he is a cheater, right? Like, that's kind of what he said in their Arc 12 confrontation. Bonesaw's the one who cares about it being fair. He doesn't want it to be fair. He always wants to win.
But that means that when Cherish gives him information that's not actually helpful for what he needs, he can't do it anymore.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. Or, I mean, I guess we saw him mess with purity. I feel like that was the on-screen thing.
And I mean, obviously he can do it anymore. There's just like, he really fails here.
Yeah. I also was so struck by like, Taylor knows that being bullied by her team is wrong.
Yeah.
She thinks to herself,
like, why does this feel like school instead of being
I remember that when I was arguing with the Undersiders, usually someone would have my back, right? Like, this just isn't, this doesn't feel like how those conversations always felt. And so
they're relying too much on, she doesn't remember anything.
Yeah, exactly. And she remembers how things felt. When Jack says, don't you remember what they did to me? She thinks through all of those feelings.
Like, I don't, but I remember feeling bad about it.
Yeah, exactly. And she remembers, like, I've had too many regrets recently, so I shouldn't add murder, right? Like, that's, like, based in, like, a feeling that she has. Oh, the thing I want to say about the group dynamic, though, is, like, I was also, like, it's kind of a credit to the Undersiders, despite the fact that there are a bunch of, like, teens and they're a mess and they argue all the time. Like, they're kind of consensus-based, talk it out dynamic is actually pretty great and not the case in every organization. I don't think it's the case in the Slaughterhouse 9. And so, like, it really is, like, maybe Jack and Bonesaw are like, well, yeah, of course, like,
this is how she'd expect her teammates to treat her.
Right, and if anyone's the boss, it's like Gru and Tattletale, right? But like, that's never been, Bitch and Regent have always had a seat at the table, even though they're not,
don't necessarily want it in the same way.
Right.
Yeah, I really loved when Jack was like, and you call yourself a supervillain? And she's like, I call myself Skitter. If other people want to put a label on me. Just such a fun way, like, insight into how she thinks of herself right now, which is funny because she's, like, missing so much context. But I feel like that's accurate, that, like, she does not currently identify as a supervillain. She is not a hero. Like, that's a very specific group. she obviously is, like, kind of one of the villain gang, but, like, she does not feel that she has, like, a supervillain identity.
Yeah.
She's like, I am who I am, and I do what I do, and if other people want to label that, that's their business.
This to me is like a thesis statement. Maybe like, I don't know. It might be too soon to call this like end of book 2, but like at least like well into book 2.
We haven't gotten rid of the Slaughterhouse 9 yet. I think that might be the end of book 2.
Yeah, exactly. But when we got this statement from her when she runs away from home, finally at the end of arc 6, I am a supervillain.
Right.
And at that point, she's like, well, people call me Skitter. Like, I didn't get to choose my name. But, like, people call me Skitter, right?
It's swapped.
And now it's swapped,
Yeah.
right? She's saying, no, I am Skitter. Like, that is a thing that I own. But whatever Skitter is, like, I don't need to identify as a supervillain, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm my own thing.
Yeah.
Which is such an amazing inversion.
Yes. It's like being agender.
Yes.
She's like, this system is stupid.
Yes.
I mean, I guess that would sort of make her a rogue. And, like, functionally speaking, that's not what she is. She, like, is a villain.
But it's the no binaries thing, right? And, like...
Yeah, it's the rebuttal to Amy, who's like, if I become a villain, I'll be evil. And
Jack cares about being a notorious supervillain, right? Like,
Jack takes pride in that label, right? And Taylor does it,
Yeah.
I just love how much force of character she had when confronted with Jack and Bonesaw trying to manipulate her.
Well, it is also tied really directly to her trauma, though, right? So emotionally, she is back as Arc 1 Taylor, right? Her default is passivity. She has no friends. She's constantly bullied. She's hypervigilant, right? So, like, in fact, her connections to other people have been what have allowed her to, like, get back to her normal self, right?
Yeah.
So by severing those connections, she has lost all the information, but she's going to be way more, like, paranoid even without the miasma. She's going back to this place where, like, her walls are back up, right? So in addition to a display of character, it's actually, like, the worst person to cut all ties from is Skitter if you want to beat her, because she is going to be really watching everything very carefully. Like,
true, she has a lot of practice of being in this state. And that's a little bit of, like, the misinformation they got from Cherish, maybe. I don't know if that what she said to Taylor is what she said to the 9, but this idea of, like, she was practically subhuman, that probably gave them the sense that, like, she was really weak. And in fact, she was really strong to endure that, and she has a lot of practice enduring that, and her time as the worm is what prepared her for this.
Exactly. Like, Regent controlling Gru would be so much more effective at manipulating Taylor than this situation, right? Like, if Taylor was just like, oh, like, this is a person, you know, has kind of the same body language, but, like, he's saying stuff to be manipulated, Taylor wouldn't have any of these signals. But here, because she's lost the information, right? Like, she actually is a lot more able to, like, think through from first principles and generally just kind of, you know, opt to not making things worse.
Yeah, I mean, I loved when she said that. She's like, I've done a lot of things that I regret, and I don't want to do more of that. And that's a way in which she is not like Arc 1 Taylor. Arc 1 Taylor, who just kind of blindly dashed in and was like, I'll do some stuff and do some good. And now she's like, oh, the things that I do have really serious consequences, and sometimes there are bad ones that hurt people, and I don't want to do that more than I have to.
That's another beat, this arc of, it could be the, like, I regret going down this path at all. Like, I regret becoming an Undersider, right? That was kind of what we were saying when she was saying that to Amy, you know, a little bit like, I've done things, you know.
Yeah, I don't know if we're getting that exactly from her.
Well, what are her other, what's her biggest regret? You know, it's Dinah, that's, like, doing the bank job.
You're right, that is sort of an Undersider thing. Yeah, Dinah. Yeah, but I don't know that she conflates the two exactly. Like, I don't know that she wants to throw the Undersiders out with the bathwater.
I don't think, no. I don't
know that she could do one without the other, but...
As always with Taylor, I feel like it's both things. Like, I think that she values her team. She would die for her friends, right? As we just saw in the last chapter, as she's, like, so focused on, like, saving Tattletale, right?
Yeah.
Or 2 chapters ago, whenever that was. But she is not happy being a supervillain. I guess I don't want to put words in Taylor's mouth, but I think that I have seen multiple times in this arc her articulating more, I have regrets. I don't know that we've seen specifically what they are or can like follow her from point A to point B. Is it that she regrets being an Undersider? Is it that she regrets leaving the Undersiders? Is it that she regrets something to do with the Brian situation?
I think it's also very possible to regret the way things turned out or consequences you didn't anticipate without necessarily regretting the choices that you made or feeling like, if I could go back, of course I would just make a different choice and that would be straightforward and easy.
Yeah.
Like, it could be like, she regrets that she left Danny, but also what else could she have done? Like, I feel like you can regret that and not see an easy alternative.
Well, yeah, so is it regret or is it grief?
Yeah, I think...
That was also so striking. When she thinks about Brian, I could remember the feeling of heartbreak because someone I cared about was gone. Mm-hmm. That's a feeling she associates with the freezer.
Yeah.
Which she didn't articulate at the time or since. But this, like, on some level she felt, even if she didn't believe it, she felt that Brian was already dead, right? Like, she felt that he had been lost. And the way that she's been treating him since then is a little bit of, like, how do I, you know, like, sort of like, oh, he's broken, and how do I relate to him, right? And, of course...
He is, in a sense, the old him is gone. Yeah.
That's the feeling that she has about her mom, right? The sort of, like, someone you love is gone. So, yeah, I really like that point about regret or regretting events, if not choices.
Right. Being sorry that you didn't have a different choice before you.
Yeah.
Being sorry that there wasn't another alternative you could have picked. Speaking of which, if we can pivot a little bit, at one point she's like, yeah, if Amy can't save people, like, most of Brockton Bay is going to die.
Yes.
I was like, wow, yeah, that's really stark. This is one of those situations where, because I sort of feel like this book can do anything, I feel like I'm starting to learn that it probably won't. But I still feel like that possibility is open. Like, the town did get destroyed.
Yeah.
Shatterbird sang, and then it got destroyed even more. Like, so many terrible things have happened to the city. I feel like it's more likely that, I think what you described last time, like some sort of middle ground of, like, not everyone gets cured. Like, some people do suffer lasting damage, or some people die. But, like, it feels to me like it's a real possibility. Like, when I read that, I'm like, okay, so maybe nothing will help and just everyone will die. And then I'm like, that's probably not what's going to happen. But it feels like such a real threat.
I mean, but that's part of why Worm is so good, right? It's like, because it really, if you're reading something that is more narratively smoothed out, right? Like, you know, like, just by the format, you know, there are you already kind of know there are sequels, so, like, it's not like you're just gonna, like, kill everyone in the city and move on, or, you know, like, but just, you know, whether it's the flex of the Leviathan thing or just the general, like, a groundedness and, like, let's take seriously what would happen if, and then once you make that if Bonesaw exists, then suddenly you're like, oh god, she could. There's nothing stopping her, and in fact, she's already started.
Yeah. And I think what I need to remember is that, like, people enjoy this for a reason, and part of that reason is that sometimes really terrible things happen and it subverts expectations, and part of that reason is also that it gives us satisfying wins.
Yeah.
So, even though I'm super aware of the potential for, like, Jack and Bonesaw to go kill Amy and Victoria, why not, and rescue Cherish and retrieve Siberian and go free Shatterbird from Regent and, like, the five of them get out of town, like, that is probably not going to happen because that would be so disappointing.
Yeah.
And I think it would only happen if it's going to lead to some other satisfying narrative thing. Like, if it's going to send Taylor in a direction that's, like, fun. Or if they're going to come back and that's going to be satisfying. But I kind of don't think that's what's going to happen. Like, I think it will probably not be a complete win. But I don't think it'll be a complete win on either side. And I think that Taylor will come out on top.
But I love the push and pull between, like, because, like, I feel like that's what's so good about a tense story is like you so desperately want something to happen. Like you want Taylor to come out on top.
Yeah.
But part of you is afraid or like, I don't know. It's whether you don't trust the author not to like, stab you in the gut, or if it's like you do kind of trust them to stab you in the gut, just the right amount, like, I don't know exactly how to say it, but like, yeah, it's really fun that you're right in the middle of that tension.
Yeah. This is why people stay up all night when they're not making a chapter-by-chapter podcast about it.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I did learn that you had to kind of skim to the end of the chapter. Do you want to talk about your experience reading it?
Yeah, I just needed to know when she was going to figure it out.
So it was the tension of her not knowing.
Yeah. It was just so terrible. Watching, like, Bonesaw interrogate her about her power and get all this information she didn't have.
While holding her hand.
Right, holding her hand. And, like, Jack putting his hand on her shoulder. And I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
It's just really bad. Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't quite take... I had to just skip a bunch of pages and be like, okay. Oh, look, they're trying to get her to kill someone. Oh, she doesn't do it. Great. Oh, she's figuring it out. Okay. And then I went back, and then I reread. Reread, as if I had read those pages the first time around. So, Coil in this chapter, I think he was pretty reasonable. It does seem like he hasn't been affected by the thing. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure how he's protecting himself from that, but... I guess he is. I was kind of curious, like, does he have their code backwards? Because isn't it usually, like, colorful thing and then letter?
I think so, but you provide both, right?
Okay.
I do want to, just to check, though, what color is gangrene?
I don't know.
Because my instinct was green. I don't know if that's because of the name or because I'm picturing, like, a green mottled skin or whatever. Yeah. But I'm pretty sure gangrene can be multiple colors, like... green, black, or red. So it's actually quite a bad thing to pick. And it's very funny for Coil to like be like, oh, I'm evil, so I'll say something gross for my color. But
now we need to look at pictures of gangrene, which is almost definitely a mistake.
No, we don't.
I do.
It's going to look like black and blue. It's going to look like a bird.
Black.
Yeah.
What did he mean? This is very confusing.
But I think there's sort of like a pale green. I'm pretty sure it's green.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's green, but I think it could also be red.
I guess that means he's okay.
I think, because we know, yeah. Here's the thing. Coil is Mr. Paranoid, right? How is staying on the line... Like, he's so dumb, and he doesn't have any excuses for this, right?
Yeah.
Like... And he
doesn't even speak Latin, Ted.
No, right. But what was worse about the other timeline, right? Like, how badly, like, if he's not using his power in this conversation, what is he using it for right now? Like...
Well, I think he doesn't know how bad it was. Like, I think it just kind of went over his head.
Yeah. For someone so paranoid, I feel like
someone so paranoid, he should have been smarter.
Yeah, you don't get the code, right? Like, he doesn't even think... He doesn't think through the possibilities. I guess he might not know the extent of what's happening.
Yeah, he might not. But, I mean, he does seem to be informed. Like, he seems to understand that Skitter doesn't have her memories.
Yeah. I just felt like the staying on the line thing that Skitter offers, I feel like Coil should have known better.
Yeah. And he should have, like, once he learned there were people with her, he should have asked them to speak as well.
Yeah.
That was very sloppy on his part.
Or, like, use one of his timelines to do something different. But again, maybe it went really bad. Maybe in the other timeline, he heard, like, Skitter getting killed by Jack. Like...
Actually, that is possible, yeah.
So maybe this is the one. Maybe he's doing her a favor. But he didn't have
to let her talk to Cherish in any timeline. He could have talked to Cherish on his own.
Yeah. And I guess we'll sort of... It's another one of those, like, we'll see how it turns out. Right.
That is true. When she flies in on Atlas and beats everyone? ? I don't know.
Yeah. But right, it's like I do sort of buy that like Cherish is the only way for Taylor to find Amy.
That does make sense. And it is clear that Cherish has figured out what Bonesaw has done and is like, the good guys are screwed. I'm going to have to throw in with the 9 again.
Yes. Oh my god, Cherish.
Why does she say it in Latin? Like, what goes wrong for her if Coil understands that sentence? Is it just that, like, she doesn't want Coil to pick up on, oh, Jack is definitely with Skitter in this moment?
I think so.
But, like, what happens if... I guess she doesn't know what happens if Coil figures it out.
And she's not supposed to know that information either. Right?
No,
there's no reason that she should know that Jack ends the world. She must have intuited it from her mind-reading capabilities somehow. Right?
Huh. Yeah.
Like, as far as I know, or maybe she interrogated a guard, or maybe she, like, I don't know how she figured it out. But, like, so I feel like it's both... I don't want to let on that Tattletale's Bonesaw and Gru is Jack, but I also don't want Coil to know that I know, this piece of information. Right, like, it's easier for her if she can just kind of play it off.
That's true. She's hedging her bets.
If she doesn't say, the message was delivered, then Taylor doesn't figure it out. So, again, she screws up.
I don't know. Taylor might have figured it out either way. Okay, so, first of all, hilarious that she has this whole thing about... I'm really good at picking up languages because I can tell how people are feeling when they talk. Who has she been listening to who's speaking Latin?
I mean, it's just BS, right? She's just trying to send an encrypted message,
no,
right?
That's true. Also, Taylor speaks Latin?
She could have taken it in, 9th grade.
I guess so. I guess. It was fairly easy to understand Latin to me, someone who doesn't really speak much Latin.
Si Jack effugit civitatem mundus terminabitur.
I liked your church Latin pronunciation. Very nice.
Yeah. Mundus terminabitur is pretty, clear. I think effugit is probably the hardest. I wouldn't have done as well as Skitter, in this conversation compared to anyone else.
I did parse it. But also, I guess Skitter... I knew the information. I guess Skitter actually did not remember the information about Jack ending the world, probably.
Right. It's just, why is Cherish acting so weird? She must be talking to Jack.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it makes sense, right? The heroes are losing. She has to go all in on appeasing Jack and Bonesaw. And, like, they did call for her. And she did manage to say, I'm on a boat,
shipping
more or
container
less.
labels, ha ha ha.
She's hoarse, perhaps because she's been screaming for help.
Oof.
Her telling Jack is so annoying. I'm so, it's so annoying. I was going to ask you, like, how does him knowing this information sort of change things? Either for the story or for
No, that's a good question. I mean, he seems to be having fun with this knowledge. But also, like, everyone was trying to kill him anyway, but now I guess he knows that they want to kill him specifically. Yep. So maybe he'll be more on his guard against that.
Yep. I feel like we're a little bit now in self-fulfilling prophecy territory.
Yeah. Right? He's like, ooh, I'm gonna end the world?
Right.
Cool.
So
okay, let's figure out how I'm gonna end the world.
So does him knowing it make him do something that he wouldn't have done except that he knew, it'll be very fun to see kind of whether that plays out as you would expect it to or whether there's more to it.
I feel like there isn't enough time left in this arc for all the people to die who I want to die. We'll see.
Who's at the top of your list?
Jack.
Yeah.
Bonesaw. Siberian.
Yeah.
That's the top of my list. Yeah. I do think they should kill Shatterbird. I mean, she definitely deserves to die. Yeah. And they should not keep her around.
She's not like a narrative problem right now. If she escaped, she would be.
Yes. But. Cherish, also not an active narrative problem. I mean, they should probably also just kill her. But mostly those three I want to die.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I had predicted that they would not all die, and then a bunch of stuff changed, so who knows at this point.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to see what happens next.
This was much more of a Jack chapter than a Bonesaw chapter.
Yeah, true.
But I did really enjoy Bonesaw's repeated role of being, like, cut up and, like, torn to pieces just because she doesn't care at all, right? Taylor, like, throws her in front of Jack and her face gets shredded again.
Oh, man. I really want some of this to do some permanent damage.
I know. And we know she doesn't even feel pain, so of course she doesn't even care. Hurt her. I also loved when she says, as Tattletale, have you forgotten how aggressively we've been going after the Nine?
Harassing them?
Yeah, exactly. It's just so funny. It's clear that they were getting to her and getting to them in terms of how well they were doing.
I love that. The Undersiders are like enemy number one.
I do really love the setting of the miasma. Like, Taylor has this whole thing about how the sky is like a monochromed red, and it like makes her animal brain feel really on edge.
Yeah,
which
that
is
makes
like
so much sense. Of
we
course.
had a day like that with wildfire smoke in Boston, where
and it wasn't even as bad as this.
Yeah. It was like even our toddler was like, "Why is the sky sick? Like, I don't like."
She was
this.
afraid.
I want the blue sky. And amidst all of that, Taylor creating like what seems like dozens of bug decoys, and
swarms of bugs that are so thick, they're like black shapes.
Right. She was like, they're like amoebas traveling through the red sky. I'm impressed
that she found so many bugs.
Yeah.
I guess they aren't hurt by the miasma, but they were definitely hurt by the bomb strikes. I guess those were fairly localized.
Yeah. What did you make? We haven't talked at all about Battery in this chapter.
Yeah. I assume she must have been affected by the miasma. So she has like the mask as part of her whole costume that all the heroes have. But all the heroes were clearly affected. So there's no reason to think she isn't affected, except that she's the only one who seems to be going after them stealthily. Did she somehow see this coming secretly and come up with a filter that actually works against the miasma? Like, I don't know, was she not in the attack or something? Like, no, I mean, she's in the miasma now, so...
Right, so she has to, when she is tied up and ready to break free at any moment, she has to be sort of analyzing the situation and trying to figure out who these people are. I don't know if, like, they used names at all to each other, like, that she could have used to, you know, remember who people were. But
I don't think she would have known anyway.
Given the miasma, how do you put a name to like a certain set of powers or people anyway?
She might remember that she's supposed to save the people named Siberian and Shatterbird. Like, she might remember that. She might not. But I don't think she has reason to think these people are those people. Maybe she just doesn't know, and she's like, oh, people who seem to be working together, maybe I'll find out.
Right. Like, it's possible from the conversation she would think that Skitter, Gru, and Tattletale were all arguing about whether to kill her or not.
Right.
But it like, to me, you're reading it and like, oh, Battery's after them. The thing in my head about Battery is like, oh, and she actually might be on the side of the 9 because of her cauldron ties.
Right. But I don't know that she'd be on the side of like all the 9.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm really curious. You know, she serves as this great element in the chapter, both for setting up Skitter's temptation to shoot a hero just on her teammate say-so, but then also the little bit where Jack is like, oh, use your power to deal with the heroine. And Taylor lies and is like, well, I'm going to say that my bugs are out of range. And then when Battery starts moving after them, she's like checking in with Bonesaw, being like, So
Tattletale.
Everything's normal, right, Tattletale? And it's clear that whatever she's claiming her power does, it's actually not, you know, telling them that Battery's catching up with them.
I don't think Tattletale would have been able to tell that either, but...
No, of course. But I mean, the point is that she was sort of saying like, oh, I've got it under control. And what they're talking about is sending the spiders after Battery, right?
Right,
Like, it just doesn't add up with what Tattletale's powers are supposed to be.
Yes. It's also just a really fun element that it is Battery, like you were saying, where we're just not sure what she's going to do and what she might pull that's an unexpected move to carry out this secret objective that we know about, but Skitter and co. and the heroes do not.
Yeah. I'll be interesting to think more about, like, was there anything in that conversation that Battery could have latched onto that would be useful? But, like, there is a question of, like, even since she started following them from the beginning, like, why? Like, why is she following 2 or 3 random people? You know?
Really unclear. Maybe she just is behaving like anyone would, where she's like, I don't know if these people are my friends. I better follow slowly and see if I can figure out who they are. Yeah.
Or maybe she had information from earlier that clued her in that she was following Jack or Bonesaw.
Oh, right, because they weren't pretending to be Gru and Tattletale the whole time. Though it's very hard to identify people, so who knows?
Yeah. I did want to just, like, talk a little bit about the thing where Taylor feels that something is wrong throughout the chapter. It's really interesting. There's a beat where she's like, Tattletale, and then she stops and she says, I was going to say she's not always right, but I've still got that black hole in my memory of her, so I'm not sure where that's coming from. And so there's a really interesting, like, how much of what's going on is Taylor's unconscious or Taylor's like memories, you know, like cluing her in that something is not adding up here, versus how much of it is like Taylor is very analytical and cautious and is trying to match her memories explicitly to what's going on here and is like seeing that it doesn't add up.
Yeah.
Right. It's a really interesting, because I'm not sure there's a definitive answer, but Taylor explicitly in the last chapter was like, oh, I just wish I could know, you know, which is the clone and which is my real friend, so I'd know who to shoot. And she's like, but it's not a movie like that. But throughout this chapter, she slowly builds up this strong intuition that something is wrong until it all finally clicks like logically into place later.
The thing where she's like, Tattletale isn't always right. Wait, how do I know that? Did feel, though, that it wasn't connected to thinking, and this girl isn't Tattletale. It seemed like it was more like, wait, why do I remember a thing? I thought I didn't remember anything like that.
Yeah.
And I wonder if the thing is wearing off.
Interesting,
like,
yeah.
Bonesaw said, well, pretending to be Tattletale, like, it's permanent, but it might not be permanent. Maybe it's more like Cherish's power, where, like, you build up immunity, and Taylor's mind is starting to reassert itself, and actually Jack and Bonesaw only have a very limited window to pull off this thing of, like, presumably killing Amy and leaving.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, you also could read her progression in this chapter as getting to the right conclusion because the miasma is making her more paranoid, right? I feel like you can read...
That's possible. Paranoia could be helpful.
Right, but you could read some of her cues here. I feel like I end up on the side of, like, even towards the end of the chapter, she is thinking to herself, like, I hate that I'm potentially alienating my teammates because of my caution. I hope I'm not making a bad choice. Like, that is so reasonable. Like, the fact that she has some self-doubt makes me feel like she's more on the side of, like, this is still her rationally responding versus, like, succumbing to paranoia. But you could kind of read it both ways. It'll be interesting to see, like, through the next couple of chapters, is there any sign that she's acting more and more erratically? You know, like, I was also thinking a little bit about Victoria and the way that she managed to resist whatever Amy did to her, right? The sort of way where she's, like, outwardly hateful towards Amy instead of, you know, only loving her. This feels like a similar thematic thing of, like, Bonesaw used her power to have this really strong effect on people's minds, but it seems to be imperfect in some way. And so it's like, how much is there kind of a theme going on of, like, the triumph of the human spirit, you know,
well, I was just thinking about Taylor talking a chapter or so ago about how, you know, it takes a lot to actually defeat humans. Like, we'll kind of just keep going. And I do wonder if, like, the persistence and durability of the human mind is going to come to her rescue in some way. Yeah,
and we saw that with Sophia in Arc 10, resisting briefly. Regent talks about how Shatterbird has such strong emotions. He's having trouble.
And it also feels very parallel to this thing about, like, what will become of Brockton Bay? And at this point, I'm like, oh, is Brockton Bay going to become like one of the nine? Like, a broken and powerful but evil place because of all of this trauma it has been through collectively.
Yeah. It's a very interesting thing to think about with the work of sort of, like, I feel like the sort of, like, oh, at the end, you know, the human spirit always wins. There's, like, a very tropey, trite version of that was Taylor's like, of course you know which clone to shoot or whatever, right? And then there's the very cynical, like, well, yeah, if a superhero, you know, reprograms your brain, then you've basically died and there's nothing left of you. You know, it's like, I'm wondering where you're going to end up.
It's closer to the first one because, like, Taylor's heart didn't tell her that these were her friends, but also they weren't her friends. So, in fact, she said in maybe this chapter or the previous one that, like, she feels like she's in a fight. I think it was this one. She feels like she's in a fight. She feels like a gun is pointed at her and has been pointed at her for a while. Like, there's all this intuitive stuff telling her that these are not her friends. Right.
And it's not purely intuition to remember there were all of these times that I was talking to my teammates and I felt like some of them had my back.
Right.
And here we are in the situation that feels more like being at school. I think it's another good example. The fact that the Miasma's here, but she's actually being threatened, is really, there's not a clear answer, right? Like,
right.
It's not a pure, like, oh, you know,
and anything
Taylor did it all
Bonesaw
herself
says could be a lie.
versus Taylor got lucky because by dint of her personality, when you sever all of her connections and memories, she's going to be a lot more like putting her heels down.
Well, she did it all herself versus she got lucky by dint of her personality is like, it's sort of 601, right? Like,
yeah, no, that's true. That's true. Her point about murder was really interesting. You don't kill without being absolutely certain it's right.
Yeah.
I feel like that's good. It's good to have a high threshold there. Yeah. But I was also thinking about her letting Sundancer murder those people who, you know...
Ooh, it's true.
They were writing off. I mean, we had Legend basically being like, oh yeah, well, it's probably good that those people died. You know, that's very different, of course, from a cold-blooded execution. But,
yeah, it's a little bit, yeah. In the messiness of battle is sort of a different thing.
Yeah. I mean, again...
Whether it should be, I guess, is debatable.
It's a parallel to the Healing Victoria question of like, yeah, save her life, but then it's no longer a life and death situation.
Yeah.
You gotta slow down.
Have time to reflect.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like when she let Sundancer do the thing, when there were those civilians that had been, you know, attacked by Bonesaw, I feel like that's more like what she's saying at the end of the chapter, where she's like, not trying to figure out how to win anymore. I'm just trying to figure out how to minimize the damage. Which is a different mindset and a different, kind of a different context for acting.
And it's closer to Pigo's default mode of action, right?
Yes.
Taylor's like, but we can win. And the heroes are a little bit more like, no one wins against the 9, right?
Yeah. I think she will.
I hope she will. That'd be great. That would be great.
So my prediction, I don't know if we're ready for predictions yet, but my prediction is that, so she's going to go to this school. I think it's not going to be just her against Jack and Bonesaw. But of course, she's not going to know if she can trust whoever is with her.
Oh, fun.
So then there's the question of like, who would go there thinking they know where Amy is? Or like they remember, I guess Taylor did remember that Panacea existed. She remembers that people exist.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think Tattletale, the real Tattletale, is the one who would come. And like, man, it's going to be tough for someone calling themselves Tattletale to convince Taylor that
we might get that moment of,
I'm the real Tattletale.
I'm the real Tattletale.
Yes.
And anyone who calls Coil later might get a tip-off about what Skitter is doing.
True. Yeah, Tattletale could remember to call Coil. I think Tattletale will be there. I think Tattletale will have sort of a motley crew with her.
Fun.
Like maybe one of the wards. Like, who knows?
Yeah, that's amazing. Tattletale's like, okay, I'm here. I brought Vista. She thinks I'm Flechette. Don't tell. Everyone pretend.
That would be hilarious if Tattletale is there pretending to be Flechette. I love that.
It's like accidentally being on a date with 2 different people at the same time. Another beat of like, you know, is this Taylor's intuition telling her something, or is this just kind of her personality? When Jack calls her versatile, she thinks, I felt a little uncomfortable at the compliment. Which, like, it could be because Jack is saying it in a creepy way, but it could also just be because, as we know, Taylor does not like compliments. She has trouble accepting them.
That is true.
There's this great detail. Taylor thinks, I had to admire them, the way they were confident enough to avoid looking over their shoulders. The body language of being...
a serial killer.
Yeah. Or just, you know, someone who's not affected by what everyone else is going through. And she also thinks, like, we had to stick together. I reluctantly followed, knowing that separating from the group could mean losing them altogether. Something sort of cynically true about friendship here of like, well, you know, you can't just be an individual all the time. Like, sometimes you have to go along with the group. We've talked a lot about Taylor's killer instinct. When she's thinking about killing someone, she is remembering, I don't remember who, but I was like using lethal stings and bites to try and kill somebody.
Actually, it was these 2 people.
Right, but she was thinking to herself, I'd always assumed I might have to do it out of necessity to save a teammate. So it's really interesting, her idea of like, we know that she's all about saving people and that she has some qualms about killing. And so it makes sense to hear it spelled out here. It's like, well, yeah, I would kill
to save
if
a
that's
teammate.
what it took.
Yeah. And it's interesting that she put saving a teammate above, like, saving an innocent or something.
Yeah. I was also thinking the way that she doubts Bonesaw Tattletale and keeps her bugs in range of battery.
Yeah.
It did remind me a little bit of how Amy sabotaged Taylor's bugs. And I was like, I feel like re-listening to that episode, I wonder if I was a little too hard on her. It is pretty reasonable to not want to give Skitter an indefinite power-up.
Yeah, you just don't know what she's planning.
Right.
That is true.
Yeah, could have maybe handled it better. I also understand why Taylor was mad about it. But
now Atlas can have cheeseburgers, so it's fine.
I'm not sure I would put that high on Amy's list of sins. Oh, and I have been completely neglecting to picture Skitter's bug face.
Oh.
Right? This whole time, she just has her glasses, some bugs, and a little bit of cloth on her face.
Terrifying.
Right, her
I guess
mask
Jack
doesn't
and
work
Bonesaw
anymore.
aren't easily terrified.
Yeah, it's so good.
Face full
it's
of
so
bugs.
good. I also really liked the little bit of choreography of, like, because her suit gets broken, she has to holster her gun, like, in her chest armor, which means when it comes time for the shootout with Jack, she can't reach for it without being suspicious.
Right.
It's like a really good bit of choreography of, like, well, why can't she just try to shoot him? Mm-hmm. So yeah, do you have any other predictions?
I'm really curious to know what Amy thinks is going on with her and Victoria while she's under the influence of this miasma. Like, does she remember does she remember that this is Victoria? Does she remember how she feels about her? She probably remembers, like, what she was doing. I guess Victoria, like, if Amy is able to keep up the mind whammy on Victoria, it doesn't matter what Victoria thinks. But Amy might be distracted enough by the miasma to not successfully maintain that.
Or is Arcadia High in a good part of town that's up on a hill and less affected?
It is possible. That's a good point. Maybe that's why. Well, no, Amy wouldn't have known to go there because of that. But yeah, okay. It is possible they haven't been affected, but it's possible that Victoria has broken away from Amy's hold. She doesn't remember Amy, or, like, enough about Amy to know maybe that she shouldn't let her touch her again. But yeah, it's
Cherish
possible
did
that
say
situation
they,
is.
but we don't know.
Yeah.
It's vague. Panacea and at least one other, probably. Mm-hmm. Well, the next chapter begins. Arcadia High was the school
where the wards went. Yeah, I mean, it's the school that Taylor wanted to go to.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be swanky.
That's what she's musing on.
Oh, yeah. The school that she wanted to transfer to avoid getting turned into a supervillain.
If only that principal hadn't sucked so much.
Oh.
Loon would still be out terrorizing the city.
But would that have been worse, is the question. It's impossible to say.
It's impossible to say. So much has happened. It's all very contingent.
Well, we'll find out more.
Next time.
On Inchworm.
Worm is a web serial by J.C. McCrae. You can read Worm at parahumans.wordpress.com and support the author at patreon.com/wildbow. Follow us on Tumblr and Blue Sky at Inchworm Podcast, or find our Discord link and any other updates on inchwormpodcast.com.